analytic psychology. The 5 most important topics of Carl Jung's analytical psychology. Analytical psychology was founded by Carl Jung. Jung was a Swiss psychiatrist. He was born in 1875 and died in 1961. In the year 1910, the Psychoanalytic Association was founded by Sigmund Freud, the greatest figure of psychoanalytic theories. Carl Jung was chosen by Freud to become the first president of the association. But due to theoretical differences with Freud, their relationship was affected and Jung withdrew from the association. America in the year 1912, while on a lecture tour of America, Jung publicly criticized Freud's theory of the Oedipus complex and his emphasis on infantile sexuality. Jung then developed his own theory and called it the analytic psychology. Okay, so let's begin. Number one, the most important topic about analytic theory is number one, basic assumptions of Jung's theory. Most of Jung's assumptions of his analytical psychology reflect his theoretical differences with Freud. For example, while Jung agreed with Freud that a person's past and childhood experiences determine future behavior, he also believed that we are shaped by our future aspirations too, with our future aims, goals. Number two, assumptions of unconscious. Like Freud, Jung emphasized the importance of the unconscious in relation to personality. However, he proposed that the unconscious consists of 2 layers. The first layer, called the personal unconscious, is essentially the same as Freud's version of the unconscious. The personal unconscious contains temporary forgotten information as well as repressed memories. Jung also believed that the personal unconscious was much nearer the surface than Freud suggested, and Jungian therapy is less concerned with repressed childhood experiences. It is the present and the future which, in his view, was the key to both the analysis of psychological disorder and for the treatment of the disorder. Number 3, complexes. Jung outlined an important feature of the personal unconscious, which is called complexes. A complex is a collection of thoughts, feelings, attitudes, and memories that focus on a single concept. A complex is an unconscious, organized set of memories, associations, fantasies, expectations, and behavior patterns or tendencies around a core element, which is accompanied by strong emotions. An example of complex might be superiority complex. In superiority complex, if a person has superiority complex as a core element, his thoughts, feelings, expectations, and memory associations as well as his behavior patterns will be formed around this core complex. The more elements attached to the complex, the greater its influence on the individual. Number 4, the collective unconscious. The most important difference between Jung and Freud is Jung's notion of the collective unconscious. This is his most original and controversial contribution to personality theory. The collective unconscious is a universal version of the personal unconscious. Jung says, which holding mental patterns or memory traces which are shared with the members of human species. These ancestral memories are represented by universal themes in various cultures as expressed through literature, in the art, and in the dreams. The form of the world into which a person is born is already born in him as a virtual image. This was said by the Jung, that the form of the world into which a person is born is already inborn in him as a virtual image. According to Jung, the human mind has innate characteristics imprinted on it as a result of evolution. These universal predispositions stem from our ancestral past, fear of the dark or snakes and spiders might be examples of collective unconscious that we have learned from the evolution. However, more important than isolated tendencies are those aspects of the collective unconscious that have developed into separate subsystems of the personality. Jung called these ancestral memories and images archetypes. And that brings us to the number 5. The fifth most important topic of Jungian theory is archetypes. Jungian archetypes are defined as images and themes that derive from the collective unconscious, as proposed by Carl Jung. Archetypes have universal meanings across cultures, and many show up in dreams, literature, art, or religion. Jung believes symbols from different cultures are often very similar because they have emerged from archetypes shared by the whole human race, which are part of our collective unconscious. For Jung, our primitive past becomes the basis of the human psyche, directing and influencing present behavior. Jung claimed to identify a large number of archetypes but paid special attention to these 4. Jung labeled these archetypes the self, the persona, the shadow, and the anima animus. Let's talk about the persona. The persona, which means a mask, is the outward face we present to the world. It conceals our real self, and Jung describes it as the conformity archetype. This is the public face or role a person presents to others as someone different to who we really are. For example, a student going to new school for the first time wants others to think that he is popular, cool, and unafraid. He dresses in fashionable clothing and he walks in with confidence and says hello to everyone. He is presenting a brave persona of a likable and popular kid, which he might not be. The anima animus. Another archetype is the anima animus. The anima animus is the mirror image of our biological sex, that is the unconscious feminine side in males and the masculine tendencies in women. Each sex manifests attitudes and behavior of the other by virtue of centuries of living together. The psyche of a woman contains masculine aspects, the animus archetype, and the psyche of a man contains feminine aspects, the anima archetype. For example, you must have seen girls who behave like boys in their clothing styles, in their speaking styles. According to Jung, all of this happens because of the high innate animus in that particular girl. And vice versa, if boys behave like girls, is because of high anima in boys. The shadow. Next archetype is the shadow. This is the animal side of our personality, like the id in Freud. It is the energy, it is the source of both our creative and destructive energies. In line with evolutionary theory, it may be that Jung's archetypes reflect predispositions that once had survival value. The shadow is like a hidden demon inside the angel, the dark side of a personality which we want to hide from others. The self. Finally, there is the self, which provides a sense of unity in experiences. Personality consists of competing forces and structures. For example, masculine versus feminine, tendencies, conscious and unconscious, introversion and extroversion. An integrated personality balances masculine aggressiveness with more feminine sensitivity. For Jung, the ultimate aim of every individual is to achieve a state of selfhood. This is more or less similar to self-actualization of humanistic theories. A self-actualized individual is able to balance and integrate the various opposing forces that make up the personality. Jung emphasized on conflicts between opposing forces within the individual. This conflict is not between the individual and the demands of society. It is not between the individual and reality. For Carl Jung, this conflict is within the individual inside.